When did you come over to the UK?
2017.
2017. Okay, that's a while ago. And what brought you over to UK? You came to study, to do a master's. Where did you come to the UK? First of all, where are you originally from?
So I'm originally from the Philippines,
Okay.
and I moved to the UK because of love. That's the truth.
Very sweet, really.
Yes.
Okay. So you met your husband here or in the Philippines and he brought you over here to Scotland?
So I was actually doing my university degree in Thailand.
Okay.
That was from 2012 to 2014. And towards the end of 2013, I met my husband. Back then, we weren't ready to get married. Well, my husband wasn't quite ready yet to get married.
Mm-hmm.
But we came up with a plan. We're in love and we wanted to be together. We didn't want to do the long distance thing anymore. It just so happened that I got this ASEAN scholarship grant from Edinburgh Napier University, and then my grades as well from uni help. So I got a second merit-based scholarship grant,
Oh,
and then we
wow.
thought, well, let's take this opportunity
Exactly.
because
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
so I got discounted tuition fees, and we decided, okay, let's move to Edinburgh, and that's when I pursued my postgraduate diploma in intercultural business communication. I've always loved studying culture anyway, especially in a business context.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, great opportunity, and yeah, that's why we.
Okay. 2017. That's good. So how was your journey like? What would you say when you first landed in Scotland? I'm assuming there was a bit of culture shock. How did you integrate into Scotland? What was that process like for you?
My journey was really stereotypical in that you go through this honeymoon period where everything is like, wow, it's
Wow,
amazing.
exactly. It's so beautiful. It's lovely. The
And
weather? What about the weather?
oh gosh, the weather quickly affected me. um, you know, having been brought up in Asia,
Mm-hmm.
so you get the sun all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then in Scotland, it's mostly grey and wet, and so it was a big adjustment. And my honeymoon period was really just about a month, and after that, I then realized, oh my god, I live here now, and I lost my sport network. I had to start from zero in
Mm.
terms of my social life. Um, so I thought I really need to put myself out there. Um, so yeah, there's definitely culture shock, a lot of culture shock, and I also struggled with politeness. You know,
What do you mean politeness?
um, in the UK, well, in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
and in the UK as a whole, there's linguistic politeness. Let's start with the "How are you?" When people ask you, "How are you,
How you
Amma?"
doing? Mm-hmm.
You now know, having lived here in this country for several years, you now know that that's just an extension of hello, and people just want to hear you
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
"I'm fine, thank
Yeah,
you,"
I'm
and
fine.
"How are
Yeah,
you?"
yeah, yeah. I'm okay. I'm good. Yeah, yeah.
For me, "How are you?" Being asked "How are you?" I would give them a full
It's
rendition.
genuinely, how
How
are you? Yeah.
yes, and so
Yeah.
that was part of the culture shock, and also the. I'm not sure if this was just unique to the people I've met too, but there was a lot of sandwiching. Like, for example, my husband is a good example, actually. My husband asked me once, "How does this look on me?" And I would say, "Absolutely does nothing on you." And then my husband was like, "Be careful when you tell that to a stranger or a newfound friend. You might want to say, I like the color."
Yeah, you need to try to, yeah, be diplomatic.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a framing, there's a packaging. So I had to adjust to that because in the past, I did have the tendency to just be direct and tell what's on my mind
Mm-hmm.
and not curate it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
I've learned so much, and
That's
it's been a journey.
interesting. So you've already told us a bit about yourself. How would you describe your background coming from the Philippines, how that has impacted on you as a person and on you who Isabel is.
My my upbringing was tough. I have to be honest. My two sisters and I were raised by a single mother, and we didn't have a lot growing up, especially when it comes to money. Um, there was a lot of scarcity, and I actually don't have a lot of memories of me as a child playing with other kids. Most of my time when I wasn't in school and studying
Mm-hmm.
would be spent on studying further. Um, and when I wasn't studying, I would be doing the household chores or helping my mom with bringing in some more income. So he was a she sorry she's a nail technician. And back then, now she has a better job, but back then it was really challenging when it came to finances, and that kind of upbringing, it was real poverty, left a lot of scars
Mm.
that didn't do me a lot of favors into adulthood. I made a lot of really bad decisions, and I still am healing from that life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pausing because I don't really reminisce a lot. I've tried to forget about those
Okay.
challenges
Okay.
because
Okay.
they're in the
Yeah.
past.
But
Um,
would you say, but I would assume those are I mean, what you went through kind of gave you drive, motivation for you to want to excel, for you to, I mean, you went to school, university in the Philippines and Thailand, you said, for you to want to maybe pursue a better life for yourself. I think that, am I right in saying that what you went through growing up gave you that kind of drive or push for you to want something better?
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
made me a resourceful person. It made me self reliant, um, sometimes unhealthily hyper self reliant. But it definitely drove me to the mindset that no one's going to save me,
Mm. Okay.
and my
Only you.
family needs me and I need to help them. And therefore, I need to do really, really well in school so
Mm-hmm.
that I could get more scholarships. And with more scholarships, I will have my
More
degree. And then,
opportunities. Yeah.
yes, with
Mm-hmm.
my degree
Mm-hmm.
will come
Mm-hmm.
more opportunities.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I won't have to rely on other people to
Okay.
make sure that I survive and
Yeah.
hopefully thrive.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a positive side
Yeah.
to growing up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It depends again. When you say there's a positive side, there's also the negative side. So it depends on what you decide to look for. It depends on what you want your outcome to be. So challenges, difficulties, bad experiences can either, drive us down the negative route to this is me, this is my circumstances, and you remain there. Or you could twist it and it would be a driving force for, your growth or wanting something better. All right. So, Isabella, thank you for sharing that. I see you're an active member of JCI. You're the past president of JCI Scotland and Aberdeen. Why did you become involved in JCI?
Originally, my reason was I wanted to have a professional network. My role at that time was being made redundant due to COVID. So I needed to find a job, and I didn't want to just rest during COVID doing nothing. I wanted to find an organization that could help me develop personally and professionally and expand my network in Aberdeen. But there's another side or another reason why I joined. It's because all throughout my life, I developed unhealthy habits. And I thought JCI is one of these organizations that could help me become better.
When you say unhealthy habits, what do you mean by unhealthy habits? Could we explore that a bit? So, what do you mean by you developed unhealthy habits in the past?
So unfortunately, I approach everything 100%. And sometimes I would drive myself to burnout and wouldn't even realize it.
I can relate with that.
Yeah.
I can relate with that. I drive myself too hard most times. Okay.
So I always approached studying as it's it's my ticket out
Mm-hmm.
of poverty, and therefore I
Mm-hmm.
should do my best. And in order for me to maintain my scholarships
Mm-hmm.
and not lose them, is to make sure that I get the highest grades possible. So that transferred or seeped into my professional life. That's also how I approached work. So
Mm-hmm.
when I graduated from uni and had my first few jobs early in my career, I drove myself to working hours because I just thought that's how you do it. That's how
Mm-hmm.
you keep a job, is to make sure that you're always performing, you're always giving 100%. And
So you had no social life, you had no friends. It was just work, 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 work for you.
that's the thing. I had a social life. So I
But
didn't really I didn't really have rest. I didn't have time for myself because I also didn't want to lose my friends.
okay,
So after work, say at 11 p.m., I would then call my friends and be
okay,
like,
okay.
okay, you're in the club.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming. And that's straight from work. And then do it again the next day. Wake up at 6 a.m. so that I could get to work at 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing that consistently, thinking that was just the way you do it. So
So what was the most difficult point for you? How did that impact your health? I mean, you said you know they were at that time you didn't know they were unhealthy. You just kept on doing it, doing it. At what point did you actually realize that this wasn't helping you? This had a very negative impact on you.
it really intensified that this was not the lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
that's sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in 2017, when
Okay.
I moved to Edinburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and I was back to being a student. Now, before coming to Edinburgh,
Mm-hmm.
I had a job, a really good support network, and I was sending money back home every
Mm-hmm.
month. And the
Mm-hmm.
way I would budget my paycheck is
Mm-hmm.
I would get it, and then immediately I would set aside my remittance
Mm-hmm.
for my family, and then I will make do with whatever's left.
Yeah.
But then I became a student again, and I didn't have my own income, and I couldn't put that responsibility on to my husband, who was then my boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, and I know that he's offered help, and on some occasions I've accepted it. But for me, it was my responsibility to look after my family, especially financially.
Okay.
So to then go to that transition, I thought, well, I don't have a job anymore. I lost that part of me. So what do I have in front of me? My scholarship, me having the chance to get that distinction as a student. So because that's always been my template or my default,
Mm-hmm.
I then didn't notice that I was pushing myself so hard again, spending loads and loads of hours in the library. And then in April of
So
2018,
at this point, you had stopped working, or were you working part time as a student?
I was actually working part
Part
time
time.
as well
Okay.
in a Filipino cafe.
Okay. Okay.
Whilst I enjoyed that work so much because it gave me the extra
Something, yeah,
income,
but it wasn't
yes.
sufficient for you to support your family back home.
No.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And I would feel really, really guilty
Mm-hmm.
for not being able to fulfill that
Mm-hmm.
responsibility because when I left the Philippines and moved to Thailand, that was a big part of my sense of self-worth. I then found out,
Mm.
I was attaching my sense of self-worth, sense of achievement and identity really to my ability
To
and
support
inability to send money back
back
home.
home. Okay.
So then to go through that transition of being able to do that and having a job that could support that and then go back to being a student, going back to being a student, it was just it was really, really difficult for me. And I didn't ask for help. I I always felt like if I shared my struggles to others, I will just become a burden because I know everyone has their own problems. And
Problems,
this
yeah.
was my decision. And I now have to live with the consequences of my decision. I was the one who said, yes,
You want to
let's
go
move to
back to,
Edinburgh.
yeah.
Yes, let's study again. And the guilt was just consuming me that close to spring of 2018, my husband started to notice that I was withdrawing. I was isolating myself. I wouldn't get out of the house. And there would be days where I wouldn't shower. I just really didn't care, to be honest, because I thought, what's the point?
What were you tired of? What at that point, what was going through your mind? Was it fear of failure? Was it regret? Was it how other people would see you? Maybe your family, how they would see you back home. What was going on through your mind at that point?
You mentioned failure, and yeah, that was definitely a big part of it. Wherein I thought, what's the point of going through life or going through this? I'm a failure. I don't know if I'm ever going to get that distinction. I don't know. I'm not able to support my family anymore. I couldn't send them money back home, which I knew they really, really needed. I I don't know if I'm even gonna find a job that would sponsor me a skilled worker visa because back then in 2018
It was still, yeah, it
we
needed to be.
weren't married then,
Mm-hmm.
and I just there was a point where I was walking on the beach and I just thought I've done my best. All throughout my life I've struggled and I never get things so easily. So I just thought it's okay. It's okay to go to sleep. So I decided I'll go to sleep. It's it's fine. But thankfully, I woke up and I have the A&E people, the NHS to thank.
What did you do when you said go to sleep? What did you do?
Honestly, I don't want to share the details because there might be someone listening to this or watching this and might get ideas, but suffice to say I ended up in hospital.
But you definitely wanted to end it all, so you sorry, should have given you that. Sorry. Yeah, just pause for a while.
Thank you.
So you did, yeah. You did attempt, you made an attempt to take your life, but thankfully that didn't happen and you woke up, you found yourself in A&E.
Mhm.
Okay, so when you woke up, what went through your mind?
What went through my mind was, wow,
It
I,
didn't happen.
it didn't happen. And I saw my husband's face and I was like, oh my God, why is he still here?
So you didn't even tell him what you were going through.
No, I
You didn't tell anybody what you were going through.
um
When
that
you,
was a mistake.
yeah, that's what I was about to ask. So thinking back now, what what would you have done differently?
Oh, I would have done these things. First, I would have asked for help. Um, and when I mean help, not just help from my husband, not just help from my friends, but also professional help. And I am so, so grateful that we could afford it at that time and we can still afford it. I still go to therapy. So I should have been more open about it because at that time, the GP told me that actually, my diagnosis is depression and anxiety and I have to be put on medication, which by the way, medication did amazing for me. It really helped me. So I should have been more open to asking for help.
Do you think if you would have shared it, even if you don't ask for help? I mean, I tell people sometimes, many times, people wouldn't have the solution. But would you agree that just sharing it to someone, just telling somebody, even if the person doesn't, even if the person can't solve your problem, I mean, even if I can't give you money to say, take, go give your parents back home, but do you believe that just speaking about it helps?
Absolutely. That should have been something that I should have done as well, is just be honest and told someone, because I don't know how this formed in my head, but I felt there was an unwritten rule in our family that if you're going to raise a problem, come with a solution as well. Because it's one thing to bring up something that you're not happy with or a problem, and it's another to come with that
Yeah,
plus with a solution.
yeah,
But
yeah.
now, looking back, I've realized it's okay not to have the solutions yet, because
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
others who are
yeah.
listening to you
Mm-hmm,
have.
mm-hmm,
So I also grew. I found out through therapy and through self development and through my involvement with volunteer organizations like JCI that I actually lack candor. And when I say lack candor, if I have something to say, or if I have a thought or a feeling that I thought would make the other person feel bad or would burden them,
you would hold back.
and
Yeah,
I would just like keep
yeah,
quiet,
yeah.
because as the adage says, if you don't have anything nice to say.
Zip it up. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I had to unlearn that. I'm so grateful to have met Rose Owen, who has actually a TEDx talk coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Rose is an honesty coach. And when I started putting in the work, I knew that I need to work on being honest, that there's a way to be honest without offending
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if I offend people, okay, I offend people. What's the worst that could happen? You know, I could discuss with them and chat with them and understand why they were offended by my truth. And I just have to be open with that. Another thing that I should have done differently actually is spend more time in nature. I was isolating myself. I grew up hating PE. You would never see me biking, going gung ho on mountaineering, climbing another Monroe. So when the GP and my therapist told me, "Oh, you need to spend more time in nature, that might help you," I instantly associated that with gym gear or, walking
Mm-hmm,
boots.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
actually, what works for me now is just gentle, nice walks, and maybe going to a garden. That's spending time in nature as well. So I needed to reframe that, because I had this picture in my head that when your therapist and your doctor tells you spend time in nature, is to gear up because you're going to be climbing on Monroe this weekend. So
No.
yeah, those are the things I would have done
It's
differently.
as simple as it's as simple as that. Thank you so much, Isabel. I think it's you've touched on so many things there, but I think one of it is people that are. Um, I mean, you started this podcast. You said you're hyper, and I was like, I can relate with that. I can be hyper. So people that are fast paced, very highly self, motivated, hard driven, wanting to accomplish things. I think one of the difficulties or challenges, would I say difficulties, is that fear of failure. So if we are not achieving, if we don't see ourselves, accomplishing that thing, it kind of affects us. It affects our who we are because we have identified with that. We've found our self identity with what we're achieving, what we're doing, coming tops in our class and having an A grade. And when that is not happening, or supporting family, when that is not happening, our identity becomes threatened.
Yeah, and that's certainly how I felt. And I didn't have a lot of self awareness either back then. Like prior to 2018, I didn't even know that mental health,
I know.
is a
Yeah.
thing and it
Yeah.
should be a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And so,
I think that's culturally as well, because I mean, the same thing. I mean, you could relate that to culturally, probably from, where you're coming from. I know where I come from, we are very resilient people. We're so resilient to the point that is actually sometimes it can impact on us negatively because we do not know when it's affecting. We just keep driving and pushing ourselves, setting goals and wanting to achieve, but we do not take care of our mental health, of our well-being. We don't step back to, like you say, go on walks, nature, little things like that can actually help us.
I love the fact that you've mentioned being resilient or resilience, because in that experience, the way I look at my life's journey now is that for me, there's actually two kinds of resilience. There's the unhealthy resilience, and then there's the healthy resilience. Because,
I like what you've said. I'm thinking about
yeah,
it.
because it's
Yeah.
one thing to be like, I will keep pushing,
I'm not going to
I
give up.
I will soldier on, as the
Yes,
phrase would say,
yes,
and
yeah,
that actually used to be my motto.
yeah.
That, do you know what?
I'm
Let's
going
just
to
do it.
achieve it. I
Yes,
must have set this goal. And you
but
keep driving yourself. But there's a point. I get what you mean. There's a point where if you pass that point, is it healthy? I think that's the question. Is it not working against you in terms of your health, your mental, well-being?
because before that fateful night, a day before, I really thought, I don't think this is right, because if I'm gonna keep pushing on, why am I feeling,
This way. Yeah,
yeah, this
yeah,
way? Why am
yeah,
I feeling like
yeah.
it's time to give up? Like, so healthy resilience is when you realize that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, that's that for me, because I don't also want to discount people that have really managed to get out of struggles, even life-threatening situations, and
Mm-hmm.
have just pushed through it. But they may not have had a support network, whereas in my case, I had my husband. We were living together. I could have asked for help, but I was just so consumed with going back to the unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
habits
Mm-hmm.
and the unhealthy templates of, do you know what, I got myself into this mess, so I'm the one who will take myself out of this mess. But it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
I believe I believe when resilience becomes unhealthy is when you think you can do it all on your own. And that's when it becomes unhealthy. I agree, you can, to a certain extent, push you all on your own, but at some point, you would need to fall back. You would need a safety net, and that safety net is your support group, support network, be it a friend, even if it's just one single friend or family, a spouse. At some point, you have to fall back because beyond that point, that's when it becomes unhealthy.
Absolutely, I agree. And I don't want to get too scientific, but we really are a community based species.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
can't, yeah, do it by
Yes,
ourselves.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why we've succeeded and thrived
Yeah.
as a species, is because we've managed to find a way to work together.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
there's only so much you can do by yourself.
Yeah.
So, but I want to touch on asking for help, because it's, I know that it can come across as too simple, ask for help. What I've learned in my journey is that when you ask for help and you're really, really struggling, you're already at crisis point, is you could always look for people who belong to these uh, two groups. The first group is filled with the people who love you, support you, care for you, have seen the ugly bits of you,
Mm-hmm.
and still
Accept
stood
you.
by you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't have that group, then seek help from the professionals. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with going
that's
to
true.
therapy. There's nothing wrong with, if medication is the path, then go for it. And
Thank you so much, Isabel. That's beautiful. I like that at the end. Thank you for being bold to share this story. It actually took, I know I became emotional at one point, but thank you so much. And it's really, really my desire that um, your story would just touch, even if it's just one person that might be struggling now due to probably a different circumstance, but just listening to you would be able to give them that hope to that either seek for help, knowing that it's okay to tell someone, to share someone, this is what I'm feeling. I'm sinking here. I need help, even if there's nothing you can do, but just share it. Or like you say, seek professional medical services. So thank you so much. And but I'm happy that you're doing well. You're thriving.
yes,
You're doing,
recovery is
yeah,
possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
recovering. Yeah, absolutely recovering, doing well in your career, being active in the community. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best
Thank
in
you
your
as well,
future
Anna.
careers. Thank you for coming to the podcast. And that's us done with this session. You've been listening to, I know I did it the other way around. Usually we start by introducing the guests, but Isabel Simon has been our guest today, and she's a talent acquisition specialist at a content investment and technology company.
Yes.
Very active GCI member. She's been the past president, GCI, Scotland, and Aberdeen. If you found this episode useful, remember to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can reach out to Isabella on
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn if you have maybe any questions or any thing you want to ask her. Thank you so much. Remember to stay encouraged, be enlightened, to become empowered. Thank you and bye. See you in the next episode. Bye.